it wasn't a crack at you. It's your just, I told you on the phone, nothing against, you said like a ripper bloke. It's not against you, it's like for me, right? And I tell my boys this, right? I get the love, but I get the hate. Like anyway, when you're the face of a company, it's true though. I get the love, hey, ask Dad, even my old man, he says you polarise people. I'm a polarising person. But for me, my dream, my passion, and you can ask my old man this, since I've been 15, 16, has been training, has been exercise. And for me, the end goal has always been, and hence why we have this name Changing the Game, has to be to raise the industry standard. And I think when I did that video, it was probably 10, 11 years worth of aggression. I'm sure my parents built up aggression. My mum wasn't too happy with it, trust me. Mum wasn't too happy, but that's who I am, and it was just expressing.
Well, that's why I wanted to really take time out to come and meet you and talk with you, because at the end of the day, and Alexander, while he's there, we were talking about this, is that's the thing that we actually share is, I started training when I was 17 and I'm 65 next month. I've always been an exerciser and I'm passionate about it, but there's another side to it, and particularly as you get older, I find is that the health benefit outweighs every other benefit.
Correct.
You probably landed on this earlier than what I did. So I did a couple of bodybuilding shows when I was younger. But anyway, one way or another. But now you get to a stage where the health benefit, the health side of it, is the bigger piece of the equation.
Yep.
Here's the thing, is that getting that message through to people that actually really need it is a tricky point. That's because we all know the benefits of it because we do it. When I talk to the government, they're actually really not much interested in it because you'll get a 3-to-1 return on any investment that you put into preventive health. But they're only in term for 3 years. You're not really going to see the benefit of that because chronic ailment is the one that they're talking to.
But don't they look at it from a point of view, and look, you deal with them, not me, like for me, I keep telling you, the business side, I got into this not as a business owner, as a coach, as a trainer. So how I look at things, like I have no business experience, so for me it's just purely my passion, right? But wouldn't you think the government would look at statistics right now and say our age is getting fatter, more obese, kids are obese at such a young age, wouldn't they want to put money towards something that's going to prevent this? Even an educational requirement? Not at all?
Yes, but there's another side to that, and that is that our industry, the gym industry, is still labouring under the legacy of what went on in the industry 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Gyms closing left, right and centre, and I was just saying to Alexander earlier, like gangsters running gyms all over Melbourne and Sydney and up the east coast, steroids, gear, all the
just
rest.
Bad image,
and we are still, if you like, we've got that hangover that we still suffer from within the industry. Now, part of my job is to try and tidy that piece up. Part of my job is to say we are a relevant, authentic industry that is properly self-regulated, that has got valid qualifications that are part of the Australian qualification framework, and that validity, if you like, is the place that we need to go to. That's the place that's the imagery that we need to now present, so that we can get the country that we really need, so that the benefit that we all understand.
Do you think this is just throwing, I'm not being rude or anything, but do you think that fitness is...
Don't hold back.
I'm not going to hold back. Do you think personally, like how people view your organisation, Fitness Australia, how do you think people view you guys? Because personally, for someone who's in the industry, I think people view it as just take, no give. That's how I believe it. That's my personal opinion. That's how, and I feel like it's poorly regulated. Now, I can't put all blame on you because you can't control everything. I mean, how can you control, and this is an issue within itself we could talk about for ages, how do you control someone with a social media account who can just say things? You can't, and I understand, Bill, that's not your fault. So I feel a little bit, when I watched it, I was like, here's a guy who's obviously, when I talk to you afterwards, I'm like, this guy's passionate like me, and he wants to improve it. But how do you stop someone like that? How can we regulate that?
Government doesn't want to regulate anything. So even Probably a good example would be the supermarkets, the Australian Food and Grocery Council. That's a self-regulated industry, and that is the food that people are buying, the labels that they put on the food. And food is another passion of mine, I've got to say.
Yeah.
The food and the rubbish that gets sent out there, the advertising to kids, all those things that go wrong. That is a self-regulated industry. The Australian AFGC, that they regulate it. We do a far better job of regulating our industry. The level, if you like, of the level of things that go on in our industry that are that really are either inappropriate or scandalous. We don't suffer the same issues as a lot of those other industries. But what we won't find is government wanting to regulate us. We've got a code of practice for the operation of a fitness centre in Australia. I take to the government and I say, why don't you say that you can't run a club unless you meet these requirements that basically says that the club is safe, it's clean, it's healthy, it's all those things, and the people that work there are actually qualified to deliver what it is they're going to qualify. They don't want to do that. They just say, no, we're not going to do that. We'll put it on our website, but no, we're not going to say, mandate that you have to do that. So you don't actually mandate that you've got to be qualified to deliver the services that we qualify anyway. Where's the law that says you have to do that? There isn't one. No law says you've got to be qualified to deliver what we qualify, what we do. So there's no law that says you have to do that. Government don't want to actually regulate all this. They want us to self-regulate. So when they talk to us, they go, yeah, but it's all very good, pat me on the head, go away, keep doing what you're doing because it saves us having to do it. That's the way that government attitude towards it is. The second thing is, government is always in budget repair. You know, when you go to them and say, we need to get the message out to more people, we want you to give us a grant to help us to do that. They're not interested in that. We want you to give us a tax rebate on fringe benefits tax, for example, for a health club membership. Well, why can't we have a health club membership that comes out of pre-tax dollars? So before you get you get your wages, you buy your gym membership, or you come to Christian Woodford, you do whatever it is, and then you get taxed after that. But they don't want to know anything about that. So it's a tough call. It's a tough call because we're actually doing quite well, except that the point that you made earlier, we're all getting fatter, we're all getting unhealthier, and we know the top two modifiable risk factors for dementia, for depression, for
type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, type 2 diabetes. The top two, all the way across the board. You're too heavy and you don't exercise enough.
Jeff does that, don't they?
That's it. They are the top two, and yet we still can't get government to embrace it. It's a tough call. If Fitness Australia didn't exist, then we'd have even less hope. Like God, we'll be starting from zero. There would be no way that we'd be able to get through. But that's only one piece of what we do. The other piece, which is more contentious, is we run the register of exercise professionals.
This is the thing that I want to ask you a question, right? And bear with me on this, right? So, CEC, right? Here's my question to you, right? I'm known as, and look, regardless if you agree with this or not, or whoever agrees, people see me as this figurehead, right? What I do. I'm very educated, but you have this CEC structure, and I agree with it to a point, right? But when I see, quite frankly, fucking stupid shit happening with CEC courses, and then I don't want to go for the rigmarole of paying money, then going through this whole fashion to get, and I understand you have to go through a thing to make sure they're properly done, but I've never understood CEC courses, never understood it. And I understand you do need it to upskill, but some of the courses that I see are just the most inappropriate courses, and I don't understand the whole role behind it. Like, obviously you need upskilling, but when a guy, like a company like mine would want to do it, but then the issues you have to go through to make, like, it's too much of a hassle. That's what I've felt.
It's hard. It's hard to get a CE course approved.
I've kind of felt like it's, if you have money, you can pay your way into it.
Why wouldn't you do it? You've got a good product. You've got a good message.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you develop a CEC course? Because a lot of a continuing education course. A lot of the guys out there among the Dan Hendersons and such, like, you know, like, they're heavily into this space. They're similar to you in the sense they're more functional in what they do, and I take your point. I mean, there's 700 courses on that website, Christian. I don't know. Some of those might be shit. I honestly don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that you can't develop a course unless we identify the fact that you've got the qualifications to actually develop the course in the first place. When the course comes to us, we don't assess it. We don't even, we do look at it, but we just send it straight out to an independent third-party assessor. So if there's a course anything to do with anything, it goes out to a psychologist, or it'll go out to an exercise scientist, or however that looks. So we actually don't assess it. They'll come back and they'll say, yes, it fits in the scope of practice, or it does, or it doesn't, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then from there, we will then award CECs to it, generally based around the number of hours of learning that there is. That's generally, so that's the process. Where we get is where people recognise courses that are clearly that have been developed by a couple of bodybuilders in a garage in Poland about nutrition, and then here's a qualification. Oh, let me put that to my name. We get crabby with that. That's stupid. At the end of the day, you've got to be sure whoever's developing a course is qualified to do so in the first place, and somebody independent has had a look at it to say yes, it's good, or no, it's not. So that's the position that we take with it. Like I say, we've got 700 odd courses there. Some of those courses are better than others. I honestly don't know the answer to that. What we'd encourage people to do is to make sure that if you're going to do a course, check out who's developed it. Get an understanding of it before you buy it as to whether or not it's any good. Because the other piece, if it's not good, people won't buy it.
Oh yeah, it's useless, yeah.
You know, so ultimately it will fall off the end. But I see I'm interested in this piece for someone like you to say it's too hard to do it. It's only the reason it's too hard to do it is the reason why you should do it. You know, because effectively you've got to have a good product, and you've got to be well qualified to be able to put it together in the first place before it gets over the line.
Yeah.
So the thing, if you play outside of the game, you can't affect the game. You know, if you're on the outside saying, well, the game, you're going to be forever doing your own thing, whatever, you know, however that looks. But to get the broader message out, we both know that the message is good, and we're both, if you like, singing from the same hymn sheet. You've got to play within the game and change the quality of what goes on within the game rather than be outside.
I think it starts though from Cert 3 and 4.
Yeah.
It all starts from that level, because if you have these, let's say someone comes into Cert 3 and 4, and that's the foundation level to become a personal trainer, gym instructor. And when I went through personally, I felt like it was like more of a sausage factory, get you in, get you out approach, where the only way I feel like I can affect change and we can affect change is at that Cert 3 and 4 level, or an educational level where we raise the stats. So we start from when they're fresh, where they don't know anything about health and fitness, and we teach them proper habits from there. Because what's happening is they're coming out of these institutes that, and yeah, the government's been pretty good at shutting them down at the moment in terms of the Cert 3 and 4, the dodgy providers like the ones we have to deal with at the moment. It's getting better, but we still have to start with them at the bottom level to teach them the right things and start educating. That's the hardest part of it, that I believe, because we're getting it, and the average lifespan of a personal trainer is at the moment 6 months.
It's not long.
Well, let's say not long, but for me, it's like, I think even though I'm not kind of in that space of personal training, like I train athletes these days, it still doesn't matter. We've got the same message in terms of health, fitness, and education, because at the bottom line of everything of this, when you cut out all my swearing and the ranting and raving I go on, at the bottom line is, I just care about this industry just like you, like everyone here. How do we raise this standard where better quality information gets at the right people so they can understand, so they can reach their health and fitness goals? I think that's the end message kind of I want to put across, for us to come together and create something that no one's ever done this industry right now. I will do it with you. Let's do it then. I mean, but the only way forward for me, and I think you can agree, is education and knowledge. Let's off all that other of imagery. I think that kills it. Personally, I think you agree with me, that kills the industry, because people are more turned off by that crap than anyone, especially the older demographic don't give about this, and like that's our issue. We see that certain image and we have to look a certain way. I think social media has been a fantastic thing for this image, industry. I think it's been fantastic, but in many ways it's this industry.
We've actually gone backwards.
Oh yeah, well I agree. It's funny you agree, because the guy downstairs is a trainer. He agreed with me when I said that to him. I said I started this industry when I was 19, and there was no Facebook, nothing.
Yeah.
And I, like you, Dave, we started before there was no social media. And then Alex said, "What was it like?" I said, "Fucking a lot better." It was actually better, Dad. It was better. You remember when I first started? I did my first work experience with Greg at his gym in Brighton. He sold when I was 15, so I've always loved this industry. And I remember watching him train his clients. I remember saying, "This is the job I want to do. I love this. I love this crap. I want to do this." And I remember this was before social media, before all that crap happened. And in many ways it has brought, look, it's done many good things in terms of the good people who want to educate, want to do right. It's done the good things by them, right? But in many ways we've gone backwards in the industry because it's been more focused on image than rather what's in your head. And I think it's incredible.
Yeah, we were actually making some headway on this body image piece. I think probably 10 years ago.
Yep.
Where we were actually starting to get into that health space, and that's where ultimately
you want to go.
Where you want to go. So we were starting to make some headway with that, but then the whole FISMO thing turned up.
Yeah.
I walk around now, some of these, you've the trade shows or whatever, and you think, what's going on here? We're just losing the plot a little bit.
Correct, 100%. But you build, think about the image, right? So not for you and me, not for us, right? But for anyone out in the industry thinks we're just a head case. Thinks our industry is just a head case. Now right now I mentor a lot of personal trainers, right? And the thing that I try and get across is for them to value themselves. That's the hardest part, Bill, is getting us to look as a professional industry. We are a professional industry, like physios, like osteos, like chiros, like myos. We are a professional industry, right? Yet on the outside, people look at us as a bit of a basket case. And trying to get the message across, and this hurt me when I was younger, when I was 19, 20, and people just thought you were just a personal trainer. And when I educate these personal trainers, when I say to them, you have a harder role than what I do training athletes, because you have someone's health in your hands. And regardless of what goals they come to you, 99% of people training commercial gyms want fat loss and muscle gain, general health and fitness, right? But that is a fantastic, you can change someone's life like that with proper training. But right now we have so many people, it's such a flooded industry, and all the people making money are the people who don't really give a flying about anyone but their social media accounts, and they have limited knowledge. And all the people who are obviously under Fitness Australia who want to at least get better and develop are making no money. So my thing is to educate the general population on what good training is, what bad training is, and getting these people who are passionate, get them paid.
Yeah, so this is an interesting, let's talk a bit about this, because this is really interesting for me. And that's, first up is the career pathway.
Yes.
In terms of professionalisation of the industry, that's a massive...
Huge,
yeah,
massive.
It's huge, because, listen, do you know that 7% of personal trainers actually work 36 hours a week or more? 7%. So 20% work less than 5 hours a week. So in terms of a profession, in terms of a day-to-day job that someone's going out to do, that's the current stats as to how that looks. So we've got a very small percentage of people that actually make a full-time job of this, of what we're doing. So that's the first piece for me. The second piece is that if you're going to have build a professional pathway, it's got to start and it's got to have continuation. It's got to have connectivity between it. Right now, the training package doesn't provide that connectivity for us.
Correct.
So you're not going to be teaching Cert 3 or Cert 4 to under 18s. Don't ask me why. I'm trying to make that change. I will make that change ultimately. But that to me is ridiculous. Why wouldn't you start bringing people into our industry at a school and a vet age? I don't get that. The second piece is that once you get the cert, once you graduate to Cert 3, Cert 4, so it's 12 months to get Cert 3, it's 6 months to get Cert 4, so there's 18 months. Now if you want to go ahead and get a diploma, the diploma then being a gateway to getting higher ed or whatever, you've actually got to work in the industry for 12 months.
Yeah.
So outside of, before you can start your diploma.
Yeah.
So there you are, you've got your 18 months, you've got 12 months, you're 2.5 years before you start your diploma.
Right.
Your diploma is another year. You're 3.5 years. You're going to tell me that you're going to be 3.5 years of education so that you can become a personal trainer just at that diploma level? No, who's going to do that? So even once you've done that, you want to go on to higher ed, you're starting from scratch at higher ed. Why wouldn't it be that the 12-month learning that you got in diploma would then be acknowledged within your higher education course? Why wouldn't that happen?
It should be.
Yeah, and why wouldn't it?
That's RPL. That's required learning.
Exactly. Yeah. So why? But that isn't the way that the system is set up. The system isn't set up for a well articulated career pathway, right?
Well, there's no career pathway at the moment. You kind of have to be driven yourself and do it yourself, like kind of what I did.
This is the complexity of the politics of health. And when you talk to government, the health hates Treasury hates health, it seems to me. They don't seem to get on because from the health point
do you talk to the health minister?
So yeah, Greg Hunt, the health minister. So the
Wait, is he, what is he, Labour or Liberal?
Oh, it's got to be Liberal, don't it?
Yeah.
Liberal, sorry, Liberal.
so what happens is that Treasury just see health as just being a drain on the Treasury. And health just says we need more money, and Treasury says
we're not going to give you some.
There's always that politicisation of what it is that we're trying to do, the message that lots of us are getting across. It's a very complex space. It's very hard to just sort of put a singular view against it to say that's got a remedy for it.
Do you see him once a month, or how does it work?
I don't get in front of him. I listen to him at sessions. Stand up and put our case forward, if you like, about
So you don't meet him one-on-one, nothing like that. He won't take
some
you.
politicians. I've never met with Greg Hunt one-on-one,
Uh-huh.
but other politicians, yeah. But you've got to get the people that are actually, if you like, making the policy. You need this sort of thing talked about more than one person in the cabinet room. You need to be able to reach out to a lot of people, so when something turns up, there's a general view of what's I'm across that or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of depth that you need to get. But we tend to deal more with bloody policy advisors and staffers and this sort of thing. That they reach out to us.
So who would create the policy? Let's say if you're trying to change something in the fitness industry, who would create that policy? Who would we have to get in front of? And I say we because it's my passion as well. How would we do that? How would you get in front of someone? Because I can know this out of someone. Go ask him if I want someone, I can. But how do we get in front of someone who can make change? Because I agree with what you're saying. I think it's fantastic. How can we create this to change it? Because in my legacy, I'm 31 now. I want to be by the time I'm 40. I want this to completely change. I want to leave something for the rest of my life that I know if I have a son, hopefully I don't have a girl, but if I have a son, they can take over this and know this industry is in good hands, because that would be something, and I'm sure you want to do that.
Yeah, the industry piece is a bit that really is, it's a qualifications piece as well.
Yes,
it's a bit that is really the key, and that talks about the national training package. So what's insert 3, what's insert 4?
Who makes decisions of what's insert 3 and 4?
So what happens with that is the Service Skills Authority, which is Skills IQ.
Yep.
The Service Skills Authority effectively put this document together, and it is the framework of how it's put together is by the Industry Reference Committee.
Yep.
I sit on the Industry Reference Committee.
Yep.
The Industry Reference Committee, this all sounds very political, and I apologise, I'm not a political person, I get bogged down in the bureaucracy, I think, but the Industry Reference Committee, what they put together what they call an expert working group, an EWG. So, or technical advisory group, TAC. I've got all the acronyms. So that's what happens. So I sit on that body, and then we will sit on the body that puts together that helps draft the training package or revise the existing training package.
Yeah.
So we've now gone up. Fitness Australia have gone out. We've had a look at what's going on in the industry. And there's a lot of work that we need to do to that, to improve that, to make it, to build a career pathway for people within the
Agreed,
industry.
100%, yes.
So we went and got a consultant to help us with that, put together a big report. We've done a lot of the work so that we can now go to the service skills organisations with this work already done. We then want to introduce these elements to the national training package. So that sits really with me, with Fitness Australia.
Yeah.
Not with me personally, but with Fitness Australia. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about being either in the game or outside the game. Because by the time I finish, I want you to join Fitness Australia. And I want you as a business member, because that's how you change the game. Because at the end of the day,
inside the tent.
Inside the tent. And now and everyone that is listening to you as well, people that follow you, that's how we change the game. We can't be on the outside shouting it down. We've got to be the inside saying, what are the problems here? Because I bet that when we did that piece of work about the national training package, I wonder how many of your people had a say in that. The people that follow you. I reckon none.
None.
Yeah. Because our people that we talk to are the people on our database, the people that are talking to us. So without having a voice in there, it's hard for you guys. When I say you guys, I'm sounding a bit us and them. It's another thing I want to talk about. But there's a lot to talk about, Christian. But that's an important piece, because we need to know from you about what's happening out there. We don't want to get a diluted view of what's going on. We want to know what else is going on out there. So getting everybody involved, getting everybody in the same tent, is a really critical part so everyone gets their voice heard. Now, not everyone is going to be happy with the result of that. But unless you actually have got the input, we're not going to get past first base with it. The other piece that I wanted to talk about with this is that as an industry, we are very, very good at fragmenting ourselves. Everyone is a bloody guru. You know, yoga is the only way to lose weight. Whatever it is. You know, like aqua is the only way. No, passive is blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
We all know that everything contributes. We all know the benefit. Exercise and activity takes many, many different forms. And most people now would probably, I don't know, go to a 24/7, maybe come to a personal trainer.
Yep.
They probably go and do a Pilates class or whatever. People hold multiple gym memberships now. This is what's happening out there because our market, the population, they know that it takes more than one thing. It takes a multitude of different things to get the health objective, you know? So we've got to stop being so fragmented. We've actually got to pull together and say, yeah, well, CrossFit, you can be a CrossFit instructor at a weekend. Is that wrong? I'm not saying if it's wrong or if it's right, but I can tell you there's 630 CrossFit boxes throughout Australia. And they have thousands and thousands, they have tens of thousands of people that get their exercise from CrossFit. Does that make, at the end of the day, they need to have a voice in this as well. Because if we want to talk to people generally, we want to talk to the exercising Australian population, they're part of that. So for me, I'm about engagement. And for Fitness Australia, it's about engagement. We want everybody in the tent so that we can hear what everyone's got to say when we get differing views. We're not going to fit the same mould. We're going to have different views. There's going to be some well-expressed views that contradicts a lot of other different ones. But at the end of the day, it's about getting everybody talking so that we can really distill everything that's going on, that we can build the best possible training package that we can. So that's a long-winded answer to your question about where does the education piece come in. Because the training package forms level 3, level 4, level 5 in the Australian qualification system, the AQF.
Yep.
So Fitness Australia, we're part of the education system in Australia. You're part of the education system in Australia. You got the degree in exercise science. So we're all playing actually in the same game. So really, it doesn't make sense that you're part of their education system, but you're stepping outside of it. Really, it's a question of us all contributing to making it better.
I think my big thing has always been, and I said this to you on the phone, would be to, at the end of the day, I can rant and I can rave, but it really was getting us nowhere. Like for us, if I'm expressing something, I express it because I really truly love it. And I think that at the end of the day, if people can come together to make an industry better, I'm all for it. I don't just say something for the sake of it, I say it because I mean it. And if we can come together and we can raise the standard together and I can use my profile for good, instead of just yelling and ranting and swearing at you, Bill, I think we can bring it all together. But I think that's the most important thing. If, you know, for me, it's always been about making this industry better. And it all starts, once again, exactly what you said, with the knowledge, with the education. And I think that's the biggest thing. There's always been an issue with this industry. I've always found an issue with this industry with the level needed within Cert 3 and 4 and how there's no pathway. Like people just kind of come in, come out, go 6 months and then gone again.
We've got such a high churn in our industry.
Yeah, huge.
How are we going to keep people in the industry?
Yeah.
There's a whole...
That's the hardest part of it. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
And we, like you said, you know, this is a profession like any other profession, but we're seen as secondary to everything else. And it's so frustrating, Bill, because it's like, you know, we are seen as like, oh, anyone can do it, you know, and that's one thing that's annoyed me, and this has annoyed me when the FAI and all that came on, when they did those 3 month Cert 3 and 4, you know, when they did the condensed fast track learning. It made our industry a because you've got some people do exercise science course, you've got people do a physio, so it's 3-4 years, whatever it is, right? Yet with our course, you could do it in like 3-6 months, Cert 3 and 4, then could you have a personal trainer. Well, the worst part, in my opinion, Bill, is the online Cert 3 and 4. I think that's ridiculous. Because how can you learn anything with being online? That's just my personal opinion. I think it's terrible.
It's a really good point that you bring up. We've got a dreadful shortage of exercise professionals out there at the moment. I don't think there's a gym that I walk into and I'll say, what can Fitness Australia do for you? And they say, get me some trainers. For Christ's sake, get me some trainers. No one can get enough trainers. 10% a year has come off the number of enrolments into our profession. So why? Yeah, why is that?
Because Do you want to hear my opinion? I'll tell you my opinion. I'm going to give it to you anyway. It will never matter. I think a big thing is we're seen as, I think we're kind of seen as a bit of a basket case industry as a whole, because like there's this social media. We've seen people just come in, come out. I think we're seen as a short-term crossover. So like I'll just do this for a year, then I'll move on to the next thing. I think the last thing is these big chain commercial gyms charging so much money for rent. I don't think it's their fault, but I still think at the end the model you would have known, and you would have known, Dave, when we first started, was that gym instructor. You don't know about this. Gyms used to pay the gym instructor fantastic. We're bringing it back here, paying our guys gym instructor hours. I thought that was fantastic, because what happens, commercial gyms, what they do, and nothing against Fitness First or any of those gyms, but what they do, is Dave would know when he was manager at Fitness First, they get rent from guys. It's $250. I remember I told you this, Dad. You couldn't get over it. They get your rent, and they don't give a shit about you. Not that they don't, but they get your money. Now, gym instructor roles are fantastic, where you get paid a little bit of money, you get paid on the job learning, as we talked about, and you slowly build your clientele up from there. I would love for all gyms to go back to that model. It probably never happened, because people are business minded. It's all about numbers and figures. But I would love, Bill, for that to go back to model, because you win, I win, everyone wins, and the standard raises. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of critics of the model of this, and there's a lot of issues around it. Well, even
the rental model.
Well, the rental model, the Fair Work Commission piece, with the sham contracting. Is it sham contract? Are you a contractor?
It is.
Or are you an employee? There's a lot of controversy about.
What are your thoughts on a gym instructor role? What I just brought up. You know how we used to have a gym instructor in every gym.
Yeah. When you've got someone employed on a full-time basis, you've got the opportunity. We've got to get out of this notion that is that you come out with Cert 4 and you're a trainer, personal trainer. Forget it. That isn't the case. You come out with it and you're just starting.
I don't have a clue after Cert 3 and 4.
Yeah, exactly. You're just kicking off. So when you've got the model that you've described, you've got a much better opportunity to actually be coached through and mentored.
Yeah, 100%.
So you know how to, not only in terms of training, but what your gym etiquette is, how you behave in this environment, and all the complexities that come with that. You've got a much better opportunity for that.
Yep.
We haven't got that at the moment. I don't know if we'll actually ever return to that, because we still pay poorly. So the amount of money that people get in that environment, and the employability within that's really, really tough. People don't pay a lot of money for full-time on the floor gym instructors, but the other side of it is that people don't like employing them.
Why?
So, because it's far easier to have a subcontractor on board than what it is to have a full-time employee, when our industry works around like unsociable hours.
Yeah.
So
split shifts.
how are you going to get? You're going to be busy from 5:30 in the morning
till 9 a.m. 8:30.
8:30, 9. Then you're going to be flat out.
5 till 10. Yeah.
How am I going to employ someone for 40? So it starts making it easier to go the other way with it, and that's what the industry has run away with. Is that good or is it bad? There's an upside and there's a downside to it, but I think really the employability within the industry is an important piece, because we've got to think about personal trainers as exercise professionals. I hate the expression personal trainers. Trainer. You're a professional. You are managing the outcome of someone's body virtue, and they're held by virtue of your instruction and how you deliver it. So, the professionalisation, and that's the other piece, certainly from Fitness Australia's point of view. We want to be sure that if you're registered with Fitness Australia, you're registered with the peak national body. We are the peak national body, and you're registered with it. And for anyone that is registered with us, that's listening to us, you should be saying to your client, "Hey, I'm a registered exercise professional." So, of the biggest register in the country, So, from the credentialing point of view, that is a really important piece. We've got to. I think it's bad. We don't worry about credentialing anymore. If you're an accountant, you want to be a member of CA or CPA or whatever, because credentialing is about employability.
But can I ask you a question on that? Do you think anyone really gives a if you got your credentials with Fitness Australia?
What would happen if a consumer said to you, when people start here, you probably make a lot of noise about it. I don't think that would happen in a lot of other clubs. The consumer comes to you and say, "Are you qualified?" And you go, "Yeah, I've got X, Y, Z." "Oh, okay." And so you got that 4 years ago. Anything else happening from there post that? If those questions are being asked, so if you're continuing education, you continue to educate yourself. Are you actually up to speed with what's happening now, as opposed to what was happening then? That level of commitment, when people start asking questions like that, then it's going to validate why you would be going, yeah, I'm actually registered with Fitness Australia. If you're registered with Fitness Australia, my first aid is up to date. My CBU is up to date. You know that I have committed to the industry with continuing education, and you know that I do that every 2 years. Now, if you're in the United States and you're a member of Australian Council on Exercise, the American Council on Exercise, or any of the other, you have to recertify every year. You sit down, you do an exam every year. There's nothing new with this. This is what professional organisations do all over the world. It's not just the bloody physiotherapists over here, and it's not just the doctors and the accountants. In our profession, throughout the world, that's what they do. Because that professionalises the industry. We can't call ourselves a profession when we actually don't care as to whether or not you're registered, or whether or not you've got continuing education, or what your qualifications are. We're not a profession. So someone's got to put their hand up to do that, and that's us. And when you do that, you put your head above the parapet, you're going to take a few straight lefts to the forehead. We had one of our trying to get very, very upset because there's someone working outside the scope of practice. And they say, you need to ring up, and you need to sanction this person, you need to strike them off the register, you've got to do whatever it is. We're not a regulatory body. We actually don't make any rules, so we certainly can't enforce them. All that is done by the ACCC, the Fair Work Commission, all these other either governments or NGOs, non-government organisations. They all regulate industry, if you like. So we aren't a regulator. So when we're influencers. We set standards and we develop guidelines. And government pick those up and say, yep, that's great, we want you to do this or the rest of it. But when it comes to actually us being able to develop regulations and then to enforce regulations, that isn't us. And there's not many organisations that actually do that. Industry associations, most industry associations, in fact probably all of them, are just associations of like-minded industry people.
Lobby.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of I'll be honest, Sharp, there's a lot of misconceptions about what you guys do.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah,
There's a massive what's the word for it? A massive gap on knowledge on what people think you do, and what you don't do and what you do. Like there's just a huge gap. Most people have no idea.
The three things basically that we do. We represent, we're an association of business, like CPA, I'll use that as an example, or like the Chiropractors Association or whatever. We're a business organisation, and we provide a lot of stuff to support business. We talk to all of the major organisations in business, the Fair Work Ombudsman. For example, when young Ben Shaw tragically was killed up there, the coroner's inquiry in the gym in was it in Gladstone? Yeah. So we talk to the coroner. They come to us for this. So we're if you like, we're a bit. The second thing we do is we run the Register of Exercise Professionals. So and that effectively underpins the whole qualifications piece, and the continuing education piece. And the third thing we do is we're the advocates of the government. So we advocate for the industry, not just the government, but to local government, to council. The number one benefit of credentialing is employability.
Correct.
And we're not employing that much. To your earlier point.
That's the issue. But it doesn't all stem back from the issue that people aren't hiring anymore. There's not enough jobs in this industry. There's not enough full-time jobs either.
The five biggest clubs in Australia, biggest chains in Australia.
Yep.
Of those 4 are purpose-built 24/7 clubs. There's nobody in them. There's no one working in them.
There's no one working in them.
Well, there'd be a personal trainer or two, maybe, or maybe not. Because don't think that all the 24/7 clubs are run by the fitness industry people. There's with one particular chain, I know that only 10% of their clubs are actually owned by fitness industry people. The other 90% are investors who've also got a Wendy's donut and a bloody Caltex servo.
I've never understood that about the fitness industry, people who buy in who have no background in fitness, but they've just got money there.
I don't have an issue with that per se, because what it tells us is that the fitness industry is good enough to be invested in.
Correct. That's true. That's what
that's a big.
That's a good piece.
So I don't bag that at all. The other one, by the way, is F45. So F40. So they're the 5 biggest clubs. So if you look at the top 20 clubs, we've got about 1,800, maybe 1,900 in the top 20 clubs, and I'm talking about premises.
Yeah.
So when you look at what the top 5 represent, there's about 1,100 of them. So first, and those guys, 60, 70, however many that might be, but the big numbers are in the 24/7 clubs in F45. They're not big employers. They're not big employers.
They're not.
Industry. No. So they're not. How many people is a 24/7 club going to employ?
Yeah, well,
you might get a couple of contract PTs in there. You might have a manager in there on a Saturday morning, maybe, or not. But so to your earlier point about employability, it's sort of gone both ways. If you like, there's still high demand, but the growth in our industry, and we were growing at about 7.2% over the last 5 years. Now we're growing, and we're predicted to grow at about 1.8%. So growth has dropped right the way off, but that growth is mostly in the 24/7 clubs. So we want to see the bigger box clubs come back because we know they are the employers. We know they're the people that be going, buddy, you've got to have a certain level of qualification before you start here, or you've got to be a member of Fitness Australia, because then we know that you're qualified, you know that you've got current CPR and current first aid, and take the pressure off us to do that. That's what we want to see, that growth back in. And I'm not rubbishing the 24/7s or the small box clubs. Look at, how many people do you employ here?
At the moment, 13, 14 people.
Got 13 or 14 people. How many square metres you got? You know, Jim?
oh, totally.
700.
700 square metres and 13 or 14 people that you employ to that. So,
We've got 2 places as well. This one and in there. There we go.
So, you're going to have 700 square metres in a 24, in a boutique or whatever, and there wouldn't be that, or 24/7, you wouldn't have anything like that number in there.
No.
So don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone to think that I'm down on 24/7s. I love the 24/7s. There couldn't have been a 24/7 clubs 15 years ago, because no one would do what the bloody would do when they walked in there. How many injuries do we get in 24/7 club? You'd be surprised. We talk to the insurers, it's not that many.
Really?
No, it's not that many. The biggest claims for injuries in health clubs?
What?
Tripping over things. That's it. That's the biggest level of claim, tripping over things. The most dangerous piece of equipment from the insurer's point of view?
What?
Box jump.
Well, he's probably right.
More accidents in a box jump than any other.
Probably right.
Yeah, that's true. That's the stats, mate. That's the answer.
I mean, first of all, I appreciate you messaging me. I think that was a big thing. For me personally, it's good to hear your side of things. I'm not that much of an arsehole to think that I'm always right, because
You do.
I'm not always right. He said, I'm not always right.
Yeah, but you're passionate Christian, and I wanted to reach out to you because, and I try as much as I can, anyone that can Fitness Australia, I want to step up to, because I know we do good things, I know we do good people. We've got a bunch of people that work very, very hard there, and it's tough trying to get by financially in an organisation like that. Everyone, is the money? Jesus, bloody hell, mate. It's not, I can assure you, it's the complete opposite. So it's, but I always try and reach out to people, because passion is what we want in the industry. We want passion, we want knowledge, we want experience, we want qualifications, and we want integrity in the industry, because that's how you build a profession.
Correct.
And we are about that professionalisation piece.
Well, I agree with you on everything you just said.
I'm grateful that you did.
So you represent all the states?
Yes.
Right. How many on the board?
9.
How do I get on the board?
Get voted in. There's elections soon.
Would you put me on the board?
I can't put you on the board. I'm the chief exec. It's not my job.
So how do I get on that board?
There is just jump on the website.
Yeah.
But you got to do one thing before you get on the board. You've got to be a member.
But surely, so you've got 9 people on the board, right? 9 people on the board, and the whole idea of a board, I'm guessing, without me being good at business, is to put forth ideas to raise the standard. Am I correct in saying that?
It's a very formal board. So
do you have to wear a suit?
I wear a suit.
You're a suit. I remember I called you a suit. You don't remind me of a suit at all. The way you communicate. You're like me.
That's right.
As long as you have to wear a suit, I'll go for it.
Well, I wear a suit because I'm very proud of the association, and I'm the chief exec of a peak national body.
Who votes? Who votes people in? The members.
Business members.
That's not going to be a problem.
It might not be.
Well, do you have anybody who looks like Christian on the board? I think the board would need more people like Christian to have that voice. He represents a group of people that's not represented.
Why wouldn't you want me on the board, Bill? Come on.
I didn't say I wouldn't.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
But basically, we the board, we elect, of those 9 people on the board, we elect 7 people on there, 2 are appointed. So
your point 2, 7 are elected.
Yeah. So the 7 that are elected, the business members effectively elect them.
What do you say when you say business members?
If you're a business member of Australia, so if you're a member of, if your business is a member of Fitness Australia, that is.
You have voting rights.
You'll pay 700. Yes, you get voting rights. Yeah.
How many business members do you have?
About 3,500.
3,500.
Just going back to the board. So yeah, it's quite a formal board, because at the end of the day, it's not our money. We are a not-for-profit secured by guarantee. So the members own the business. So so we have to be very careful about how we manage it. And in those circumstances, the governance principles and what they call the fiduciary duties of the board members are quite clearly set out by the Corporations Act 2009, and you've got to make sure that you comply with that, so that you're operating they're operating a legitimate board of directors that operate the business. So it is quite involved, I've got to say. It's pretty technical from the governance perspective. Like I say, it's quite formal. The board meetings are quite formal. They're carefully prepared. The agenda's prepared. They're properly minuted.
I prepare everything, Bill. Don't you know that, mate? I launch my stuff. That's in the right place. That's what you said. As long as you got passion and vision towards something betterment, this is my life's dream. My life's dream, my life's passion is developing an industry that I can look back when I'm 80 years old, rocking on my old chair with my son who's 30 in this industry, and think to myself, we did a good job.
Yeah.
No, but we all, Bill, not just me, you, him, all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking thanks for messaging me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. But stay in contact.